Hi guys, welcome to Carolina Downrange. I am getting ready to start a video that I've been thinking about for quite a while, especially after I picked up my Daystate Wolverine. I am getting ready to start the first part of an English showdown between my Air Arms S510 Ultimate Sporter and the Daystate Wolverine Human Regulated. So I'm going to take my time and try to make a very thought out and high quality competition between the two. And in the midst of doing that, I'm going to cover a few categories that I think you might be interested in. I'm certainly interested in. We're going to be going over obviously the accuracy that really boils down to the competition, but the accuracy between the two air rifles, their power. Then I want to talk about the cocking mechanism on both of them, and just give you a personal feel of what I like, which one I favor, if I favor one over the other. So we'll get to that. The trigger, obviously, on both, and anti-double load, or the lack of, the overall feel of both air guns, and finally the magazine, if there are any pros or cons to the magazines of each. So we're getting ready to do the first part, which we're going to start out with the accuracy, and we're gonna be testing at about 30 yards away in my backyard. And to make this fair, we're going to be using JSB Diablo Exacts in 8.4 grain. Both air guns are 177. So I did that for a purpose. When I thought about picking up the second one, I was trying to decide which caliber I wanted. I already had a 22. And so I knew that it would be an interesting and neat idea to pit the two English air guns against each other. So obviously, I decided to go with the same caliber, so we can make this a dead even heat. So anyway, we're getting ready to get started. I have a camera down at my target so that we can film the actual impact, and I'll be collecting some other data that I'll put in my spreadsheet, such as the shot strings on both, and the initial air pressure in both, and see what kind of data I can come up with, and if I can find anything interesting between the two. Okay, so let me set up the target, or the camera and the target. I had to zero in my air arms. For any of you that saw my first video, I had an air leak in my S510, so I had to ship it back to Air Venturi, and I shipped that back in the middle of May, and I just got it this week. So it's back home. I had to re-zero. That took a hot second, and we're ready to go. So without further ado, I'll get back with you when I'm ready to start. All right, hold on. Okay guys, I got everything set up. Camera is ready to go, and we're going to start with the S510. See if I can get the camera switch situated a little bit better. At the top left of the target, and we'll take the right side for the Wolverine. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead, and I anticipate the accuracy, especially at this range of 30 yards. I expect both of them to pretty much tie each other. I don't expect anything different between the two, but it'll still be fun to do. And also, in the second part of this video, I'm going to stretch it out to 50 and then upwards to 100 yards if I can get a range that far. But that part will be filmed at a farm of a friend of mine, so I can't do it here in the backyard. So we'll have a second part that we'll really get to test the accuracy of the two and pit them against each other. Okay, so here we go. Go ahead and start my video. There we go. All right. I think we'll start at 5 shots per. Bullseye. That's 2. That's 3. This contest may come down to fractions of an inch so far. And 5. Okay. Let's see. Let's put the safety on. Move that one out of the way and put the Daystate. All right, let's see what we got here. Yep, that was ready. Already loaded. We'll be going to the top right. We'll get this one. Set up. This would help. 3. Incredible. Okay, let's head down. And see what we got here. Okay, here we go. And here we have the S510. And here we have the Wolverine. And guys, the shape is almost the same. Look at that. That is incredible. I'm eyeing this, and it literally looks like both have about the identical center to center. How about that? Look at that. I mean, I expected this, but to actually see that in real life, wow, incredible. But here again, I mean, for the cost of these air rifles, and especially at 30 yards, it shouldn't be a big surprise. But there you go. That's a 5-shot, both shooting the same exact pellet, JSB Diablo 8.44 grain, I believe it is. All right, so let's go back and talk about the field and some of the other things that I talked about earlier. Stand by. Okay, we're back. Wow, that's a very successful first part to this heads up competition. I am pleasantly surprised, and I'm really tickled pink because I own both of these. So anyway, we just got through talking about the accuracy. I have to attach my chronograph to do the power. We'll skip over that. Let's talk about the cocking mechanism. I didn't notice a significant difference between the two. I will say that the cocking handle on the Air Arms, if you can see this, they're pretty much built the same. Let's see if you can see that. The only difference is you have basically a handle on the S510. Let's see if you can see it that way. Put it up closer. Basically a cocking handle, right? It cocks a little further back than the Wolverine. But I think it's a little smoother. I think it's a little smoother than the Wolverine. It's a little more like a soft butter versus a firm butter, if I could use that analogy. And here on the Wolverine, you have the handle, and this makes it easier to grab the handle. You know, I like this part of it. I actually prefer this, a little handle to actually grab over the S510, but the S510 has a smoother flow, a smoother cocking mechanism. So far, I would give the heads up, or the I don't want to say, I would rank the S510 just a point higher, if you would, over the Wolverine for cocking mechanism or cocking flow. Trigger. The Wolverine has the better trigger for me, only because the weight of pull is more to my liking. The S510, the trigger is, here again, like butter, but it is so light. It is so light. I'm more heavy-handed, and I've adjusted the trigger this morning, as a matter of fact. Actually, I don't want to adjust it too far because I don't want to. They tell you that, warn you that you could have a coiled spring, I think it was, if you adjust the weight of pull too much. So I adjusted it at about a 3/4 turn. I think I did 2 quarter turns and then a full half. So I did 1 full turn, and as I can estimate, it may have added a few ounces, but that's it. It's still a very light trigger, and I like a more pull. I don't want to be surprised by firing the gun when I'm trying to find the second stage. So I would give, in terms of trigger, I would give that to the Wolverine. Anti-double load, no contest, it's the Wolverine. It has an anti-double load. The S510 does not, pure and simple. You will be able to double load the Air Arms if you're not careful, and you will double load it. It's just inevitable, really, because we get so distracted, or a lot of times we can't remember if we cocked it for the next shot, especially when we're switching out magazines and all, and put it back in, and then we do something else, and now did I cock it, did I not, you know, am I gonna double load? And so that's just no contest. So that is another point for the Wolverine, and just a flat 0 for the S510. In my opinion, that's really the only significant feature that the 510 is lacking, and it's really a overlook. I would really hope that they would address that in a future upgrade to the S510. And from that point, you know, I would really consider it one of the most well-rounded and perfect air guns out there that I've seen so far. And I would like to think 3 top-notch. I don't own an FX, and I'm not certain that I'm going to get an FX. The 3 that I have really covers everything that I'm interested in doing, and I'm so impressed with the FX Crown and the Continuum. But it was like I saw in one other video, one guy had an opinion that he thought the FX was over-engineered, and it got me to thinking, you know, actually I believe it's right, because most people, I would dare say 90 to 95% of the air gunners out there, once they get the gun set up to their liking and they know what to expect, they're not going to, you know, go through all the myriad of combinations that you could come up with the FX. So it's great that it would fit almost any style that any air gunner would look to have. But after that, I mean, you may have, you know, a lot of features and a lot of adjustments just wasted because you're not going to change it too much. You know what I mean? So anyway, but I have considered it, but at this point, like I say, I think my Hot Sun 22 has the power that I'm looking for. 37 foot-pounds in the 22. So that's very good for me. And I have my two sharpshooters, my two sniper rifles, if you will. And both of these are lethal. I would dare say up to 75 and even 100 yards plus, you know. So, okay, there we go, anti-double load. Let's talk about the magazine. From the three guns that I have, the Hudson, Neutron Star, the Wolverine, and the S510, the S510 has a clear advantage in the magazine technology. The ease of use, should I say. All of them have worked flawlessly for me. But there are extra steps that you have to do in the Hudson, a little less in the Wolverine, and just nothing to do in the Air Arms. Drop a pellet, rotate, drop, that's it. My Hudson, you have to initiate by loading a pellet on the opposite side and then flip it over to continue the fill. On the Wolverine, it's pretty much like the Air Arms, but it's not as, I wouldn't say simple, but it's not as easygoing, if you will, to load. Otherwise, they would be neck and neck. But the Air Arms is hands down the best magazine between the three. So I would put that just a hair above the Wolverine, not much. I put both of those, you know, a few points higher than the Hudson, but they're kind of neck and neck between the S510 and the Wolverine. But I do give the edge to the S510. And finally, well, not finally, the overall feel. We'll still have to go to the power, but I'll have to hook up my chronograph for that. The overall feel. Let's see here. That's over here for right now. Let's see. In terms of weight, it shoulders well. The Wolverine, that is, has a nice good feel. The texture of the stock is very nice in your hands. I love the pistol grip. I love the pistol grip. That's one of the things that sold me on the Wolverine. Does have the adjustable butt pad, but not cheek piece. I love the thumb location of the safety. Very easy to get to. As a side note, the weight is pretty good with the scope that's on there. S510, it's a little heavier. I would estimate maybe even a pound, even a pound up to 2 pounds heavier. It also has a wonderful feel. Obviously no thumb hole, but it does have the adjustable cheek and butt pad. And if I was just shouldering, I can't really tell a difference. The balance is very good on the S510. I'm gonna try that here. Not bad. I would say they're about the same. They're about the same. So even though it doesn't have an adjustable cheek piece, the contours of the stock really work well with my face, and I would venture to say probably most of the owners of that. I would actually give both of these a tie. I'd be comfortable shouldering either one. There's if I had to give an edge, I'd probably give it to the Wolverine, just because of the extra weight of the S510. Yep, I mean, if you're benching, or if you're benching your gun, it doesn't matter too much. But if you're, you know, freestyling, so to speak, or doing a standing hold position, you would probably tire quicker with the S510 than the Wolverine. But here again, the balance, which means a lot, the balance is about equal from what I can tell between the two. So I would chalk up the overall feel to about equal. About equal. I mean, you know, the extra pound or two could play a difference. In some folks, it may not play a difference at all. And here again, it depends on if you're bench mounting it, then it's really a non-issue. So I would put both of them. I think you'd be happy, or I'm certainly happy, shouldering either one. In my opinion, you know, I haven't lost either way with either style. I do love that thumb pad though, the thumb hole. I love that pistol grip. So it doesn't bother me much on the S510. Now, in turn, I didn't mention about the safety. The safety on the Wolverine being at thumb's length, with your hand seated in the shooting position. It's not that way with the S510. It's actually on the trigger blade. I'll have to twist it around this way, and if you can see it there, safed in, and it's not bad. It's very easy to take the safety off, because you're using, or for right-handers, you'll be using your index to just slide it in. You got reach right there with your trigger. But to put the safety on, you have to make an effort. Do it this way. You have to make an effort to move your thumb down there and find it to slide the safety on. So I would give the edge to the Wolverine. Half of the S510 is half of the maneuver is easy, the other half is not, or not so easy. But with the Wolverine's style, it's easy either way. So I would give the edge to the Wolverine. So, okay, I'll pause here for a second, get my chronograph set up, and then I'll get some idea of the power and the shot string. So be back with you in a few minutes. Okay guys, that's it for this video. I want to thank you for stopping by and hanging out with me this evening. Look for the upcoming part 2 of this head-to-head competition. And we will see you then. Should be a lot of fun. Take care. Cheers.